Hello, my name is Beck and today I'm going to be hauling some books for you. So these are some books that I've just gotten recently, mostly throughout August, and they've come from subscription boxes, publishers, and there's some here that I've pre-ordered myself. So I just thought I'd show them all to you in a bit of a cluster. Enjoy! So the book that I pre-ordered is Snapshot by Brandon Sanderson, and this is one of his many novellas. Just to quickly sum up what Snapshot is, it follows two police officers inside this snapshot investigating this crime. So a snapshot is basically one day in the past that's been replicated, and the police force use this to track down murder weapons and evidence for crimes so they can properly convict criminals. I actually have already read this and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Even though it's really short, Sanderson makes his novellas so fast-paced and so packed full of information, but not in a kind of info-dumpy way. He really takes you by the hand and drags you right into his story, and that's why I love his novellas so much. So even if you've never read a Sanderson book before, this doesn't connect to anything else that he's written, you can definitely pick this up, and I would 100% recommend giving this a go because his novellas are amazing. So the next book is also a Sanderson book. If you couldn't tell, I am a Sanderson lover. I love his books so much. I'm working on doing a reading guide so I can tell you where to start with his different series and how they kind of interrelate. So I'm really excited to share that with you. So stay tuned. But the book that I'm talking about is Alloy of Law. So I did a books for trade for this on Twitter, and it's actually an ex-library copy. I'm kind of working on collecting hardcover copies of Sanderson's books because as soon as they print, they go out of print after the first print run. So they're really hard to find, but I'm making it my mission to find as many as I possibly can because I got onto the Sanderson bandwagon really late. So the next couple of books I'm going to haul, I have actually talked about pretty briefly in my upcoming reads video, which I will link either above or below in the description for you. But the first one is Imposters by Scott Westerfeld, and that's a sci-fi dystopian companion to his original Uglies trilogy, and it follows different characters, and it's kind of after Tally Youngblood's time in the first trilogy. So you don't really have to have much prior knowledge of the past trilogy. You can go and read a Wikipedia article on it if you really want to know. It doesn't really include many characters from that original series, so you definitely won't be spoiled or confused. It's a very fast-paced story with the main character, Frey, who has been hidden away her whole life because she's a body double for her twin sister. So her twin sister and her hate her father because her father is this really huge political figure, and he's not afraid to mass murder and kill people and manipulate them to achieve his aims. The next book I hauled is The Bridge of Clay, and I talked about this in my upcoming reads video as well. I don't want to go over it too much, but this is an advanced reading copy and it is apparently a very hyped book. I haven't yet read The Book Thief, but I'm very excited to read The Bridge of Clay because this is going to centre, I think, about family and tragedy and loss and grief and connection, and it sounds beautiful and it's very thick, so it's going to be a time, so I'm quite excited for it. And the last one that I talked about in my upcoming reads video is Salvation by Peter F. Hamilton, and this is a really dense, chunky sci-fi book that's for primarily adult readers. I've started it and I've found that it's quite hard to keep track of so far, but it's one of those stories that you kind of have to settle into it and make a space like a butt dent in a couch kind of and get really comfy and ground into it before you can enjoy the kind of revelations it gives you. So I'm very willing to get more than 100 pages into this before I decide whether I like it or not. I think he's got such atmospheric writing as well, so it's definitely going to be a ride, but it's going to be very worth it. So adult sci-fi. So the next book that I hauled is Mirage by, I might butcher this name, Somia Dowd, I think. And this is a young adult sci-fi, not an adult sci-fi, and it follows Amani when she's ripped from her cultural home and forced into being the body double, basically, of the princess of this galaxy because she basically looks identical to this princess. This is a very atmospheric sci-fi book, and it focuses a lot on culture and people of color and tradition and family, which I really loved, and its tone is very honest and pure, but I found that the pacing was a little bit slower, which is why I didn't love it, but I really enjoyed it. And this, even though it is an advanced reading copy, it is actually out by the 28th of August, so this is definitely going to be published by the time that you see this video. The next book that I hauled is by Sarah J. Maas, and it's actually Catwoman Soul Stealer, and this came in the August Illumicrate box, which I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I had a subscription, but it proved too expensive to continue, so this is actually going to be my last book from them for a while. It's got pretty stained edges, and it's part of the DC Icons companion series, and this is the third book. The next one is going to be about Superman, but the previous two have been about Wonder Woman and Batman by Mary Lou and Leigh Bardugo. So I haven't read those yet, so this is going to just go on my shelf for a while, I think, but it looks very pretty. So the next book I got from the lovely publishers Data Book, and they sent me Escaping from Houdini by Kerry Maniscalco, and I absolutely love this book. I got an advance reader copy from a friend, and so I read it a couple of months ago, but it comes out mid-September, I think, and this again follows Thomas Cresswell and Audrey Wadsworth, and they are investigating a crime of murders on this ship that they're on. It's such a fast-paced story, but I think I loved book 2 more than I've loved book 1. Book 2 just had a lot more going for it in the romance department, I think, and even though that's not really what I'm tailored to, the way it was written just absolutely hooked me. This book didn't hook me as much, and I think I gave it 4 stars, but it's still definitely very magical and a lot of fun. The next book is Killer Tea by Robert Muchamore, and I got this also from a publisher, so thank you very much. And I've also read this one. I'm doing pretty well reading the books I haul every month. This is a contemporary book turned dystopian about halfway through, when genetic editing technology becomes readily available to the public, and so synthetic viruses are created, and because they're created, they make a lot of people sick, therefore a lot of people die, and so it kind of becomes that dystopian desperation nearing towards the end, and we follow these 2 teenagers, Charlie and Harry, as they grow up in this kind of environment. I really liked it. It had Robert Muchamore's writing style of Cherub, which was very simplistic but conveyed a lot in its simplistic way, and so I definitely encourage you to pick this up if you've never read his books before. It was a lot of fun, even though it's about a very heavy topic. And the last one I got from publishers, so exciting, is Harry Potter, the first illustrated book, The Philosopher's Stone. I actually have these already in hardback because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, but they sent me this as a surprise, so I just had to absolutely talk about it. It's amazing. I'm so excited. I'll just show you some illustrations really quick, if I can find any. This book is gorgeous, and I'm very overdue for a Harry Potter reread, so this is definitely on the cards. The last couple of books I have to show you are actually audiobooks, and I listen on the Audible app, and there are 5 of them that I've got here today. The first 2 audiobooks are actually books that I've already listened to throughout the beginning of August, and that is The Painted Man by Peter V. Brett and These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. So I've already talked about these in my wrap-ups and other videos, so I'm just going to glance over them really quickly. The next book that I have on audiobook is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, and this has been recommended to me because I'm a fan of Brandon Sanderson and The Name of the Wind, and this is recommended to fans of those series, so I'm quite pumped to get into this. I think it's a morally grey story following a few different perspectives, and that's kind of all I know about it, and that's really how I'd like to keep it because I love being surprised by these books. Now, The Blade Itself isn't the only fantasy audiobook that I downloaded recently. The other one is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. Now, I don't really know a lot about The Black Prism either, but I know that Elliot Brooks, who is also a booktuber, is doing a read-along during September, and that's the book that she chose, and it's been sitting on my shelf for a very long time, so I thought, why not just get the audiobook out, listen to it, and join in on the read-along? So that's what I'm going to do, and after The Black Prism, I'm going to listen to The Blade Itself, so it's going to be a very packed fantasy month in September. Now, the last audiobook that I've got, I actually don't have the physical book along with me. I usually download audiobooks for books that I've already got the physical copy of because it's making it easier for me to read my to-be-read pile at home. The audiobook that I recently downloaded is It by Stephen King, and I downloaded it because I really want to listen to it in October, and I just got really excited because I keep seeing people tweet about Halloween, so I downloaded it a little bit soon because I've still got a couple of audiobooks to read before I touch it. But I've seen the movie, I really liked the movie, and so kind of the cardinal sin, seeing the movie before reading the book. But Dave has read this book, he's written a review on my blog, which I thought was awesome, and I can't wait to read it as well, and so we can discuss it properly. These are the books that I've recently hauled. Thank you so much for watching. If you have read any of these, or if you've hauled any of these yourself, or are anticipating any, because there are a few ARC copies here, let me know in the comments. I would love to chat to you. Thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. I'm gonna go put these down because these are really heavy. Bye!